and today I bring to you the much requested video all about highlight and contouring. I'm going to warn you right now, this video might be a little bit long-winded. I want to really fully go into depth and give you as much knowledge about the subject that I have to give you to really inform you. I will admit also that I was and have been extremely nervous to film this. I know it has been one of the most requested topics ever since I started this job doing videos for Lux Pineapple. And the thing is, there are so many videos out there about highlight and contour. There's so many, blog posts, all kinds of information you can find about highlighting and contouring, and so I kind of felt hesitant to create a video on a subject that is already so talked about. And so with that in mind, I tried to bring to you and put together something that is not necessarily the same as everybody else. So I want to bring to you as much information about products, about brushes, and about applying. So you will see a demo in this video as well. So I want to give you the most information. So this video will be long, and I do think I'm going to go ahead and insert like a time slot in, on the screen for you to skip ahead to like the next topic about this if you would like, but I just really want to be really thorough with you to give you as much help as I can. The other thing I was really nervous about is the fact that you guys need to know that I am not professionally trained. I am just someone who really loves makeup. I mean, I would love to eventually go to school for, makeup and aesthetics and stuff like that. That is my goal eventually, but as of now, I am not professionally trained in any way, so a part of me just really didn't feel qualified to give you this, expert advice. But what I have and what I bring to you today is stuff that I have learned through lots of research. It's what I've learned from others, and it's what I've just learned through trial and error. And so, I may not be, qualified on paper or anything like that, but I have done a lot of research in this for you. I'm not creating this video lightly. I really want to be helpful and as knowledgeable for you guys as possible. So with that in mind, I do hope that you guys do the same thing. So this video, I hope, helps you, can be a guide from you, but it's not like law for you. Everybody's face is different, and really the best thing to do is take these and use them as tips to help you get started, and then go by trial and error. You may try something and try this and not like it at all. You may need to tweak it, because also there are several different face shapes, and my face shape is not the same as all of you guys watching. So I could really only demonstrate to you what works for me, and then you can take that and kind of tweak it to make it work for you. So I hope you guys keep that in mind. Another thing that I wanted to say is that if you would like to learn more about face shape and how to apply for your face shape, I did see that recently, I believe it was Sephora, posted on their YouTube channel how to highlight and contour for the various face shapes. So that might be something you want to look into as well. And if I remember, I will try to leave a link to their videos in the description box below for your convenience. Okay, so with that long introduction, let me go ahead and just go into talking a little bit about highlight and contouring. So some of you might be wondering, what is highlight and contouring, and what is the big deal of it? Is it necessary, and all that kind of stuff? So do I believe that highlight and contouring is absolutely necessary in your makeup routine? No, I do not. That being said, if you're like me with somewhat of an addictive personality, once you start doing it, you will find yourself having a hard time not wanting to include it in your makeup routine. Once I start using a product or doing a certain technique with my makeup, I tend to always want to do it, because now I just feel like I can't just see my face as looking okay without it, you know, but it is not necessary. What highlight and contouring is really is just bringing your face and your features kind of back to life. Now, I have some videos that I took previously showing you my face completely with no makeup at all, and then another one with myself after applying foundation and concealer and setting powder. And what you'll notice or might notice is that in the before video here, before I have any makeup on, you'll see that my face naturally has these light and dark spots. Our faces naturally have, you know, contours, and we have shadows on our face that, you know, bring our face to life and look, you know, 3D like it does. And then once we put on foundation and concealer, essentially we make our face look a little bit flatter. We lose the natural shadows and lighting that we have to our face, you know, and I, you know, went for years and years and years without doing any kind of contour or anything like that to my face, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. It wasn't until after I had kind of discovered it and I was like, oh man, I kind of really like the way it looks now, because like I said, you know, as you're gonna see, my face looks a little bit more just you know, flat, no dimension to it or anything. So essentially what contour and highlight is doing is bringing those natural shadows and light places that naturally are on your face without makeup back, you know, that foundation and concealer kind of erase and take away. So with that in mind, you can keep contour and highlighting looking very natural, kind of just really only focusing on bringing back the natural, you know, contours and highlights of our face, and kind of bringing our face more back to more dimensional, if that makes sense. Or you could also go, you know, an extreme and make it look a lot more dramatic, where you're kind of photoshopping your face in real life. So you can use contour to, you know, if you want to make your cheekbones look a little bit more prominent. And me, one of the things I like to do is contour my nose to make it look a little bit more slimmer and not so round. So you can use it to, like I said, be very natural or dramatic or anywhere in between. It's really up to you and what you want to do with it. I feel like I kind of go in between a natural and dramatic, because I do like the way that once I add some contour to my cheeks and to my nose, it really gives the illusion of a slimmer face, a slimmer nose, and so that's one thing that's really great. But like I said already, it's not necessarily a must, but it does make me feel a little bit better. And you can choose to, you know, wear it and do your highlight and contour however you want. And if you're just starting out, really just experimenting and seeing how you feel is just the best way to get started, and then, you know, go from there. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was, some of you might be curious what the difference is between a contour shade and a bronzer shade, because there's all kinds of, you know, bronzers out there. It's not a new thing or anything. And from what I learned and what I consider, a bronzer is more of a warm toned brown. It's maybe more of a little bit orangey or even shimmery. It's just a warm shade to add a little bit of warmth and color to your skin. I feel like a bronzer is really great to use, well, all year round, but especially I think in the summer when you're kind of darker anyways, and you could just add a little bit more warmth to your face, or even in the winter when you're a little bit more pale and want to add some warmth to your face. The difference between that and a contour shade is going to be a more taupey, ashy, grayish brown shade. It's going to be a shade that looks a little bit more natural to, you know, your natural shadows on your face. So say if you have a photo that you uploaded, you know, into a photo editor, and you want to do a color select, and you color selected a spot on your skin, and that was more of a shady spot. It wouldn't be exactly like a flesh tone or a brown. It would be more of an ashy gray tone, and that sounds weird, but it's more like a shadow, and that's what we want for our contour. We don't want, you know, to bring a warm brown down the side of our cheeks, otherwise it's going to look muddy. And sometimes you can't do that when you're doing, you know, bronzing up the face, and I've used bronzers slightly to contour too, and it's not like awful. It just really depends on how much you apply. But essentially for contouring, you really do want to lean towards a more cool toned ashy color because it looks a lot more natural. So now I'd like to talk a little bit about products. There are all kinds of products on the market, and especially right now, it seems like this past month or the past couple of months, there has really been like a big hit of all kinds of new highlight and contour kits coming out from a variety of different brands. So it can be overwhelming to know which ones to choose. I'd say that if you are just starting out, there are some options at the drugstore, or if you really want to go in high end, you can go into like Sephora and have somebody help you pick something that would suit you. So I'm just going to kind of go into the products that I own myself. There are several others, but just to give you an idea of what there is out there, I'm going to start off first with single products and then go into the kits I have. So as for contouring and even bronzers, here is something from the drugstore that I recently got. This is the Wet n Wild contouring palette, and it has a highlight and a contour shade in here. This is a bronzer. This is from the brand Becca, and this, like I said, is a bronzer. It's more of a warm shade. It does have some shimmer in it, and it applies a lot warmer on the face. So I would consider that more of a bronzer, but I have used that to contour with. This is another drugstore option. It actually is empty because I recently just used it up, but I like this a lot actually for contouring with. This is from Rimmel London. It's very affordable, and this is the shade Sun Bronze. Now, Rimmel London does also have, I think 3 shades total, or maybe 4 of bronzers like this. And there was one that I got that I didn't like at all. It was just way too shimmery and way too orange for my skin tone, but I felt that this one was more matte and a little bit more cooler tone to work as a contour shade. And so this one was the number 22 Sun Bronze. And then another one that had been my favorite for the longest time, when I very first got into highlight and contouring and really didn't know what I was doing, and I look like a hot mess to be honest looking back now, is the Balm's Bahama Mama. And this is kind of like in between high-end and drugstore. I think you can find this brand in some drugstores, but it's a little bit higher price, but not, I wouldn't say as high a price as some high-end products. So that is an option as well. And this is a really kind of dark brown, so you really need to apply this light-handedly. I didn't do that when I first started using it. It's kind of embarrassing. But I think this one could work more as a bronzer and also a contour if you're very careful. Going into highlight shades, I do have a variety of different ones. None from the drugstore, actually. Well, I guess this one can be considered drugstore. This is Goddess of Love Triple Baked Highlighter, and this is actually something I ordered from Makeup Revolution, which is located actually in the UK, but to them this is a drugstore brand, and it is very affordable. I got it because it looks similar to the Too Faced products, and I just thought it was so pretty with the heart. But it is a gorgeous shimmer that's very subtle but has a very gorgeous highlight there. Another one is from the Balms. This is the Mary Luminizer, and a lot of people you might see use this on YouTube. I only use this every once in a while because it is a really dramatic shimmer highlight. I'll show it right here. See, it's like kind of insane. It's beautiful though, but I don't use it as often. Another one, this one's one of my very favorites. This is from Too Faced, and this is their Candlelight Highlight. And this one I feel like is very, very natural. It's mostly matte, but it does have these gold reflects in it that you don't really notice until like the light catches. It's not a glitter, so you don't look glittery. It's just a very natural glow, and so I really, really like that. And then the last one I'm going to show you is actually one I will be using in the demo today, just because this was available in the limited edition Luxe Pineapple Box of Joy that they recently came out with. And this is by Art On It. This is their Face Glow Angelo. And if you're curious, I'm actually wearing the lipstick that came in that box as well from Art On It. But anyways, this is a gorgeous, oh, it's beautiful. And it's very creamy. I really like this too. So let's see. So I use this today, and so you can see it's very, it's not too much shimmer like this one. It's a lot more natural looking, and I like it, but it still provides a nice, you know, shimmer glowing effect to your face. Next I have 3 kits to share with you, and kits are really just either palettes or sets that come with both a highlight and contour and a variety of different color selections for you to choose from, which is really nice. The first one I have to show you is a very affordable kit. This is from Blank Canvas Cosmetics, and this one has 6 shades to choose from, which is really nice. So really it has 2 contour shades, a very light one and a more dark one. This one is a little bit more brown, warm toned, but it still works nicely. Then you have 4 kind of highlight shades. And what's nice is that a lot of the kits have colors like this yellow and this peachy tone, which do seem scary at first, but if you are someone who has dark circles under your eyes, it's really, or you know, pigmentation, dark pigmentation, these are really nice to use there. I definitely love using a yellow tone powder or concealer under my eyes for really brightening it up. So this one was from Blank Canvas Cosmetics. Another one I have is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit. This one's super popular. They recently also came out with these same kinds of kits, only in cream version. So this is the powder version, and actually I removed the banana powder because that's the only one I really liked from this kit. I only used this a handful of times, less than a handful of times, because I just found like these shades for me were a little bit too warm. They didn't suit my skin tone, but I know this one is very popular among a lot of people here on YouTube and in the beauty community in general. So this might be a pick that you might like or might not. But again, I do recommend, if you're gonna buy something that is a little bit more expensive or a full-on kit, that you do go in the store, swatch for yourself, see how it looks on your skin tone, get an opinion of someone who works there, because they will help you. Another one that I kind of have my eye on is the Kat Von D Shade Light Palette, which is similar to this, but I feel like her shades are a little bit more cooler tone and work, I would say, because I did swatch it in comparison, and I would say that would be a little bit better for actually highlighting, contouring. It's very appropriately named Shade Light because that is what you are doing to your face, adding back in the shadows, the shades, and the light to your face. And then what I have here is the Too Faced Cocoa Contour, chiseled to perfection, and this is actually what I will be using in today's demo as well. I really like this. Not only is it delicious and smells like chocolate, not to eat, but smells, it also comes with a little brush. I don't use this one, but I do think it's nifty to travel with. This one only has 4 shades, and it does, I think it's nice because it does have 2 contour shades, and this one, as you can see, is, from what I can tell from my viewfinder and in person, this one right here is more of the cooler taupe tone brown that I like to use for actually contouring. This one, as you can tell, is a lot warmer, a little bit more orangey toned of a brown, and is perfect for a bronzer and really just warming up certain spots in your face. I love it also that it has a matte highlight here that is very pigmented. This is more of a shimmery highlight that you don't want to put on some of the places on your face, maybe just right here. I don't use it as often because this one actually does have some more chunky glitter in it, so that's a hit or miss for some. But that's why I'm going to go ahead and go in with another highlight shade, the one from Art On It that I already mentioned before. And as I said, there is a variety of all kinds of highlight and contour products. There's even liquid products and cream products as well. I haven't tried any cream products because I'm not a huge fan of working with cream products, and maybe that's just because I'm not as knowledgeable about working with them as I would like to be, but those are options as well. The next thing I want to talk about is brushes. So application, obviously you're going to need brushes. And so I have a variety of brushes here because I actually do switch off from using you know, different brushes here and there. It just really depends on my mood and the look I'm really wanting to go for. The ones you'll see me using in today's video are these ones right here. I have this fan brush, which is from Sonia Kashuk. This is available at Target, it's very affordable. This is what I like to use when I want to just kind of fan and dust on, highlight to, you know, the top of my cheekbones. It applies it very nicely. It's not too, you know, it's just a simple fan brush, and it makes applying it very easy and without it looking too caked on. So that's an option. You don't necessarily have to use that with all highlighters, but that is something that I know a lot of people in the beauty community use. Here's another thing that I like to use for highlight as well. This is from Real Techniques. This is their setting brush, because I like to use this under my eyes. I use it to set my concealer. I use it to add the highlight here. I use it to add the highlight down the bridge of my nose and all that kind of stuff. It's just a tapered, very nice brush. For contouring, I have this brush from Luxie. I'm not sure if it's specifically that's the name of the brand or whatever, but I did get this in an Ipsy bag actually. And so this is an angled brush, and let me just show you really quickly a few other brushes I use for contouring. So all of them are angled, that I like, that is my preference for contouring, but this one, as you can see, is just a little bit smaller and a little bit thinner, and I just like that because I feel like it gives a really more natural, diffused look rather than some other ones. So this is what I'm using today. Let me just give you an example. This is one from Real Techniques. It's one of their newer brushes. This is called their sculpting brush for contouring, and it is thinner, but it's actually really dense in comparison. So here's just kind of an up close of these two brushes, and you can see this one just really packed densely, and this one's a little bit more dispersed. So I just feel like this one really kind of packs on the color, and I think this one actually would be really great, now that I'm thinking about it, probably with a cream product. The other one that I showed you, this angled brush, and it just says it's a cheek brush, and this is from, I believe, yeah, Mary Kay. And I used to always use this for blush, and it's great for blush too, but I just really have been liking the angledness of it for, you know, really getting into the hollows of the cheek. So I like to use that as a contour brush as well. And here is another brush from Real Techniques. Now this is labeled as their contour brush. And you see how it's very similar to the setting brush, except for it's just a little bit bigger, but it's tapered. And this is actually really nice for contouring too, just if you want to be really more precise, you can get a really precise line, you know, when you're contouring your face and your nose if you want. So that is another brush and another option. Here is what I'm going to be using today in my demo to contour my nose. Some people use other brushes, very smaller, much thinner brushes, but this is just something I prefer. This is one from BH Cosmetics, and it's just a blending brush for your eyes typically, but I like to use it because I feel like it really blends out and gives a natural look when I'm contouring my nose. Not always if I'm too heavy-handed, but it's my preference. Here is another thing you might be seeing. I actually haven't seen much about these kinds of brushes in a while, but I know for a while this type of brush was really all the rage. And so this is a contour brush as well. This is from Blank Canvas Cosmetics, and it is the F30 brush, and it is made for contouring. It is a really flat, dense brush, and also made for contouring. So you see how it really just kind of get the line in there, really get you chiseled if you wanted that. I used this for a long time when I first got it, but then eventually kind of switched over to the more, you know, fluffy brushes for a more diffused natural look. I felt it just was a little bit easier to work with, my opinion. And then these two brushes, I have, these are, I think, both from Mary Kay. No, this one's from Avon, this one's from Mary Kay. And I'm not quite sure, I didn't get these originally and use them for contouring. I just eventually started using them for contouring. They're just a round of flat kabuki brushes. One is wider than the other, and you have probably seen me use this already because I meant to mention, actually, I did post two videos about, one about bronzing and kind of adding some color to your, and definition to your face, essentially kind of like a contour video, but with a bronzer, and then another video that I did on highlighting. So if you would like to see those videos, I do encourage you to watch them, and I'll link them below. But those are more like quick, not as in-depth as this video. So anyways, I did use this in my quick bronzer tutorial, and I like to use these when I'm in a really big hurry and don't want to be, or don't need to be, very precise with my contouring. And so I usually use this with a bronzer because it's so wide and it really gets a lot of space, so I could really kind of just really quickly get the edges of my face with a bronzer to add a little bit of warmth and color to my skin. And because it's really thick, it really just disperses the color really quickly. And because this one is like the same kind of brush but smaller, I would use this to contour. So getting in a little bit more precise and then doing a really quick contour on my nose. So typically not something you would think of as a contour brush, but is something that I use, you know, so that's an option as well. So if you have something like that, you might not necessarily need to go get new brushes for highlighting, contouring. And then another brush that I'm using today is the Real Techniques blush brush. I like to use this, I've said this before, or I will say it again in the demo you will hear. I like to use this for a setting powder brush because it is so big and fluffy that it really gets well into adding my setting powder and then just kind of blending everything in. So that's something that I like to use as well. So now that you guys are all informed about what highlight and contouring is, about the products, most of them, at least the ones that I have, and the brushes you can use, I'm going to go ahead and roll into the demo of how I contoured my face today. And if you have any questions about this, or if there's anything you felt like I forgot to talk about, please leave a comment, let me know, and I'll try to answer your questions as thoroughly as I can. And I also did want to mention something else, because like I was mentioning in the very beginning of this video, you know, we do all have different face shapes. And so you really have to take into consideration what's going to work for you. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is skin color. So obviously I'm a lot more fair than others, or I could be considered a lot darker than others. So really you have to pick shades that are going to work with your skin tone. And my frame of mind in bringing this up again was really thinking about those with darker skin tones. So those of you with a darker complexion, you might not necessarily need to do the contouring. You might only benefit from just doing highlighting. So if you've already got, you know, a darker skin tone, what you need to work on probably is just bringing out the light in your color. So whereas I'm more pale, I guess, I need to bring in the shadows on my face with a little bit of highlighting. And if I were darker, I would probably work on bringing the lighter light back to my face. So if you're darker skin tone, you can still do some contouring, but mostly focus on bringing you know, highlight to your face in the same spots, like here, up here, down the bridge of your nose, on your forehead, you know, the T-zone kind of thing. And that will naturally bring in the shadows of your face as well. So that's something also to take into consideration. I know a lot of people tend to forget about the diversity of skin tones, and so I want to make sure to mention that as well. So I think that's it. I'll go ahead and roll into the demo. To start off, I've already got foundation on my face as well as concealer and setting powder. And I'm going to be using the Too Faced Cocoa Contour. I'm going to first go into this light cocoa shade, and I'm going to be using this Real Techniques setting brush. And I'm going to start with my nose. Now the nose is not something that absolutely everybody needs to contour. A lot of people do not contour their nose. I like to, because I like the slimming effect that it gives to my nose. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and start and bring this, just make a line right up the center of my nose. I'll just go ahead and kind of fan it out like this. And basically what I'm going to do is use that highlight line as a guide to where I'm going to be putting the contour color. So now I'm going to go into this medium cocoa shade, and I'm taking this is just like a fluffy blending brush. This is from BH Cosmetics, and you can use, some people use more of a flat definer brush. I just like this because I feel like it really blends it out, and I feel like it gives more of a softer diffused look rather than really packing it on and still having to go back and blend it later. I will be going back to blend it again still, but I just like using this brush. And so what I'm going to do is just go ahead and bring the contour color right up to the edge of the highlight color, and just go straight down, follow the line down all the way to my nose, and also bring it and connect it to my eyebrows. then when I get to the tip of my nose, I'm just going to kind of make it angled, almost like a V shape to connect it. And then go ahead and do the same to the other side. And what this is doing is making my nose appear to be more narrow and slimmed out. Makes my nose really a lot slimmer. And so without any more product on it, I'm just going to kind of go over it and just kind of blend. And I will again be going over it later, as you'll see, to blend it a little more so it looks more natural. So now the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and contour the rest of my face. I'm going to be using this brush. This is just an angled brush from Lovelies. I received this in an Ipsy bag, and so as I already talked about, there's a variety of different brushes you can use, and this is just one that I've been liking to use lately because I do like the angle, and it's dense but not as dense as some of my other ones, and it's also not as wide. It's just really a lot smaller, and I feel like it gives a really nice natural look. So I'm going to go again with the medium contour color. I'm just going to dab my brush in there and then kind of like tap off the excess. And then right here, if you kind of like make this little fishy face, you see the hollows of your cheek, and that's kind of where you want to take it from your ear back here and just sweep it down. You don't want to, and I mean downwards towards your mouth at an angle, not down this way. You do not want to bring the contour down. You want to sweep and blend it upwards. And I like to stop kind of like right here. You don't want to bring it too far down, but you'll just kind of see as I go. And already could see the difference from one side to the other, how now it looks like my face is a little bit slimmer on this side, cheekbones look a little bit lifted. And so I'm just going to kind of go and just blend it. And then I'll tap a little bit more of product in there and then go in with my forehead here. Some people bring it all the way here and here. I kind of just like to bring it at my temples a little bit here and then sweep down. And also bring it to my ear and then down along my jawline. And as I'm doing that, I will sweep downwards onto my neck as well. The important thing is to do that like you would with foundation, because you don't want to look like there's a harsh, stark like contrast between your neck and your face. You kind of want to bring it down so it blends down and looks a little bit more natural. So you'll see me doing that as well. And that's what I have for contouring my face. I'm going to go ahead and now warm it up a little bit using the dark cocoa color. Now this one is more of a warm tone, and so I'm just going to focus this on the spots where, you know, the sun would naturally hit and kind of kiss my face with some color. So I'm just going to warm up. So spots up here. Bring that kind of to my temples and blend downwards. I'm just bringing that back here, kind of sweeping a little bit forward, but not quite into the contour color. Just more so the outside of my face, just kind of framing my face. contours as well. Then after when I'm done doing that, I like to take a big fluffy brush just to go ahead and sweep over everything that I just did, blending it all in. I don't know if I've really noticed a lot of people do this. I just feel like sometimes I could be heavy-handed, or I don't know, I just feel like getting an extra blend in there really makes it look a little bit more natural. Just like, you know, how we blend over products when we, you know, do eye looks, and I show you how to blend, you know, products in and reblend and stuff to get it, you know, looking, you know, no harsh lines and everything like that. I like to do that also with my contour. So I'm gonna just take this big, what is this? This is a Real Techniques blush brush, but it's a really wide, big brush that I think is really great for blending. And so I'm just gonna go over everything that I just did. No product, I should say. And just blend, sweep it over my face and blend it all in. And here's where I go back over my nose, kind of going up and down. And then now you see how it all looks, at least to me, a little bit more blended and natural and not such like harsh lines on my face. Even though I tried to go in a little light-handed and blend it, I feel like just going in and blending it some more really kind of helps it look a little bit more natural, like natural shadows on my face rather than just contour lines all over my face. Okay, and so after that, I go back in with that light cocoa color, and here's where I put it under my eyes, and this is where you kind of add the highlight part of it. So I like to bring that shade under my eyes to brighten up my eyes, and I usually do a very generous amount because again I will go back and blend. And you want to highlight any place that, you know, you would naturally have light on your face. So I like to bring in the T-zone. You want to brighten up the center of your forehead a little bit there, down the bridge of your nose. I like to do a little bit here on the Cupid's bow, a little bit on the chin, and then you could even, I don't often do this, but bring it under this way too as well. And this works especially going under here if you did get too heavy-handed right here and maybe some of it came down, you want to, you know, bring some lift back up in there. And then again, go back and blend. This highlight in here is a matte highlight, and I like that because when I put something under my eyes, I don't necessarily want a lot of shimmer. So that's a different kind of highlight, and I really like this one for all the spots that I showed you. But then I like to go in with the highlight that has a little bit of shimmer. Now this one here, their Pop of Light, has a little bit of glitter, like actual more chunky-ish glitter and a shimmer, and I don't necessarily always like to go for that. So today what I'm actually going to be using, just because I know a lot of you got this if you grabbed the limited edition Box of Joy from Luxe Pineapple. This is the Art on It Face Glow. So this was included in that limited edition Box of Joy, so I just thought it would be really fun to also include that. This one is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous shimmer. And so where I like to add shimmer, where most people like to add shimmer, is right here at the top of your cheekbones and then on the Cupid's bow as well. Before I do that shimmer though, I do go ahead and add blush. So I do my blush after this contour. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply blush really quick, and I'll come back to show you the rest of what I do for highlighting contouring. Alright, so I've got my blush on it, so I'm going to be using, like I said, this Art On It Face Glow, and I'm going to be using this fan brush. And what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of that, and then just use it to lightly, apply it to the tops of my cheekbones here. And then you have this nice, beautiful glow. And then I'm also going to add a little bit here to my Cupid's bow. And then without any additional product, just take that to my forehead and then slightly down the bridge of my nose as well. Why not add a little bit of glow in my entire T-zone? It ends up looking too shimmery for your taste. Remember, you could always go back in with the fluffy brush and kind of blend it out a little bit more, or even add a little bit of setting powder onto this brush and kind of blend it out a little bit more. As long as you don't go too heavy-handed at first. It's always better to apply, not enough and then build it up, rather than applying too much and having a hard time trying to take it off. So essentially this is how to highlight and contour your face, but I'm going to go ahead and take it a step further, because here's a few other things that I like to do to continue to highlight and contour my face. So sticking back with this fluffy crease blending brush from BH Cosmetics, I'm going to go into the medium cocoa shade, and I like to take that as well right here under my lip. Doing this also kind of helps add a little bit of depth and dimension to your lips, making them look a little bit fuller, because we have the shadow down here and the highlight up here. As well, you can continue, if you're not wearing any other eye makeup, eyeshadows, whatever, you can contour and highlight your eyes as well. So sometimes when I'm in a hurry and I just want to be using one product, like say this, and I'm not doing, a lot of eyeshadow, but I want my eyes to look a little bit more awake and alive and not so, lifeless, just plain, I will take the contour color in here as well and just sweep that to the outer corner of my eyes, as well as just blending forward in the crease. And you can see it's subtle, but there is a difference there. And then just take the highlight shade. Now you can take the matte one here, or I'll go ahead and just take this shimmery one here and bring that to the inner corner of your eyes to highlight right there. And the brow bone to give a little bit of lift to your brows as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other eye. Alright, and so this is the finished look after highlight and contouring. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys found it helpful and informative, and I hope you learned new things. Definitely remember that what works for me is not going to work for every single one of you, but I hope that you can take these tips and use them and change them around to make them fit to your face and your style and all that kind of stuff. And again, like I said before, if you have any comments or questions, be sure to leave a comment below. I'd love to answer them as well. If you would like to email me, you can do so, maria@luxpineapple.com. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And until next time, be sure to stop by luxpineapple.com, where you'll always find a sweet deal.